Kaya FM podcast.
Now, if you're a regular listener to the show, you'll know that we love people who are innovative, people who invent things to make our lives better. We love entrepreneurs. We love people who start their own businesses, and whether they crash and fail and then get back up on their feet again, we don't care. We want people to succeed. We want to give them a platform. We love people who can do both of those things. And as I look at the information about this next topic, I realize I'm dealing with somebody who's done exactly that. His name is Pontsho, described as an irrigation system developer. Now, there's something. He's and looking at the things that he has done in the past, he has designed, along with some of his colleagues, a wonderful invention for basically, well, I see where I'm going to use it, for watering my garden. An irrigation system that activates the water tap at night. And that's the perfect time to water your garden, when the evaporation levels are very low. I get so annoyed when I see water systems, sprinklers on, people watering the garden in the heat of the day. Dude, you're losing so much to evaporation. And this invention, the Nocturnal Hydro Minimizer, has won all sorts of awards. But now Pontsho's involved in a summit, which is going to be held by the Water Research Commission in partnership with the Green Youth Network. It's hosting a Youth in Water Innovation Summit, looking to, and I presume because the word youth is in it, for young people to be able to be recognized for their innovations and their entrepreneurial spirit. Let's go to Pontsho Moletsani, who joins us online. Pontsho, welcome. Good morning.
Hi. Thank you for having me on the show. Good morning to listeners as well.
It's an absolute pleasure. I had not until recently, over the past couple of days, as I was researching for this interview, heard of the Nocturnal Hydro Minimizer, which has done wonderful things and has won all sorts of awards. Explain what the Nocturnal Hydro Minimizer does.
So that was the primary concept name, and we've since worked on it for some time now and have developed it into what we call Noseta, which is an upgrade from what it was back then. Back then, it was just a couple of sensors and probes that you fit into the ground. But now we've incorporated all sorts of things, and we're going the academic research route type. And we're calling it NOSOESA, and it uses what you call machine learning, which is a section of artificial intelligence. I'm sure you've heard that as a buzzword.
Oh, yes, we have, Pontsho, and something we're wrapping our heads around. So how do you use artificial intelligence then?
Of course. So the idea is so that over time, it learns about the environmental conditions of the particular environment or the microclimate, and then enhances its response measures to how the environment is at the point in time, and when to put water, and as you said, like limits it to when it's best to irrigate, when you have less evaporation and when you have the optimal amount of soil moisture getting into the soil and getting absorbed by the roots of the plant.
Okay, so for example, if the system detects that it's pouring with rain and it is at the time where the system should turn on, it won't turn on, I presume.
Yes, that's exactly the modus operandi.
Okay, and you won all sorts of awards over the years for this. What's next in the offing for you, Pontsho?
So we raised enough money to develop a prototype. So the skills, the manpower, the technology to develop things like prototypes is quite expensive in the status quo. And one of the things that we are now looking toward is raising funds so that we can deploy about a number of the prototypes that we've actually developed and test them with actual users, because we've done stakeholder engagement interviews with potential target audiences and so forth. And the beauty of it is that there's an interest in participating in preliminary studies because of the fact that we've recently had the drought being declared as a national crisis and the like. And if you look at the current climatic trends, it's actually happening that rainfall is becoming scarce and scarce.
Yeah.
So this is something that people are looking to, and that's one of the things that we're raising funds to do. And it's not very easy to come by funds. You have to try all sorts of ways to get into that process of raising the right amount of money that you need to deploy one unit. So we're sitting at 1 unit, and we need to deploy about 50 rows with several people that we can try this out with. And that's where we're heading now. That's the next step.
When you talk about stakeholders and the people that you interact with, I'm presuming you're talking about farmers, whether they are small-scale or large-scale farmers. It's not going to be somebody like me who's got a little veggie garden on the front verge. Or it could be all of us, couldn't it?
It could be everyone who's in the whole pot. But there has to be a strategy, because if you don't have a game plan, then everything gets scattered. So our initial strategy is to try out with large commercial farmers, and we're getting some positive feedback from some of them. For instance, we think that the fact that a couple of years ago we won a first prize for South African Breweries Kickstart Ignite is validation enough by a large water user in the nation, or an organization of that stature.
Yes.
Of that stature. Is validation enough that we're on the right track, and these are the kinds of organizations that we're looking toward for the kind of support that we need in the short to mid-term range time frame.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. If SAB is recognizing what you've done, and you consider the amount of land, the amount of farmers that they're involved with on a regular basis because of the crops that are grown for them, the barley, the hops, the maize, for example, and the way they've got programs to support emerging farmers and commercial farmers, you definitely want to be in their radar, on their radar, which you are. Now, we've got this Youth in Water Innovation Summit, which the Water Research Commission and the Green Youth Network is to host. How important do you feel these kinds of summits are to identify what people can bring to the party in terms of innovation and entrepreneurial spirit? Because that's clearly what you have done. You've walked both those roads.
Thanks for that recognition, by the way. I think these kinds of events are important because water is a shared resource amongst multiple users, multiple stakeholders. You will have a farm next to a rural community. Both parties need to use it, but there's also the ecology, there's also industry, there's a number of groups that you can look towards as to the water use within a specific locality. And the importance of these kinds of summits is to bring awareness as to the nature of this kind of interaction, because there's still a lot of beliefs, a lot of attitudes, a lot of value systems around the use of water by individuals. And most of the organizations that we find ourselves in, whether it's a home or an organ or a business that does farming on a large scale or small scale, they are run by people. And it's about creating awareness within those particular entities, which are the humans that are interacting with the water, so that we can find ways to reach out to the masses, so that we can make sure that we have the right mindset when it comes to using the water that we share with not only ourselves as people, but with the ecology. And the importance of this is the fact that we don't want to find ourselves having to run our taps dry. After all, we might not even have our favorite beverages to go around in December time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the importance of it. We need to be conscientized in a way that we are sensitive about using water delicately. And the other important thing is that we can even now usher in an age where we use technology to help and actually inculcate these sorts of values, which is now the beauty of things like artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is not a tool to eliminate the human factor in the use of resources, but it actually does enhance or extends our interaction with multiple resources that we have to use, water being key at the whole interface.
Yeah, people, the country needs more people like you, Pontsho. I love the way you think about these things, and I love what you've already done. If anybody's interested in getting in contact with you regarding all the issues that we've spoken about, what's the best way of doing it? You've got a website, haven't you? yellowbeasttech.com, is that right?
That's our domain name, but you can drop me an email. It's my first name at yellowbeasttech.com, or my mobile number, which is the one you have me on now.
I'll tell you, we'll give the email. We'll give the email address out to Afropolitans if they would like to contact you, particularly if they're business people who'd like to contact you as well. Pontsho, thank you so much. We'll stay in touch with you. I'd really appreciate your time this morning.
Awesome. Can I send a shout out quickly?
Yeah.
I'd like to send a shout out to all the entrepreneurs and SMEs in the IoT space, in the agri-tech space, in the water space, and literally everyone who is doing fantastic things as I am. Keep doing what you do. You don't know who you're inspiring, and never give up.
Yeah, nice shout out. Thank you very much. Pontsho Moletsani is his name. Pontsho at yellowbeasttech.com is his email address.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned to Kaya FM for more.